G'day everyone, it's Wednesday night and welcome back to Robbie Fishing Q&A. I have to say for the first 3 weeks that I've done this weekly questions and answer segment, it's been quite successful. I've been flooded with questions and I'm doing the best I can to answer them. I hope you're enjoying the answers that I'm giving, and let's get started on another week of Q&A. Rightio folks, this very first question is from Collie Yak on YouTube. Got a question for you mate, if one of us other YouTubers turned up in your town, would you do a vid with us? All depends mate, I probably would if I was available. It can be very hard to pin down between my work commitments, my media commitments, my family commitments. It can be quite hard to put the thumb on, if you know what I mean. But if I'm around, I would love to catch up and I'm happy to do a little bit of a vid. Have you in one of my vids? Me being one of your vids, a bit of a collaboration, that's fine. But like I said, it all depends on my availability. Certainly I am happy to do it if I'm available, that's for sure. $5. Do you reckon I can catch a fish on that?
Yeah.
What about these ones? $9 for 5 of them. Do you reckon I can get fish on them?
Yeah.
Joe Jenk 340 from Instagram. G'day Robbie, I was just wondering what would be the best bait caster in your opinion for heavy lures for around $300 to $400? Much appreciated. I've said this on social media a few times, particularly on Facebook, but also on YouTube. When it comes to general questions like that, I honestly don't know. I can tell you mine, I've got a Shimano Corrado, I think it's an E7. I can highly recommend it, it's a fantastic reel. I can't even remember how much it was, I bought it that long ago. I think it was about $300 or something. Great reel, I can recommend that one. But as for the other 45,000 brands on the market today, I just don't know. Because I don't actually go into tackle shops and just walk around playing with rods and reels and looking at gadgets. Because that's time that I could utilise making videos or being out fishing. If I need something, I'll go into one of the nearby tackle stores and I'll get what I need, but just going in and browsing and looking at all the new things, I don't worry about it. Right here, I've got my Venom 6 kilogram bait caster rod with my Shimano Corrado. It works, therefore I don't have to go and look at other rods and reels. I'm not the sort of person to just ponder around tackle stores for hours looking at stuff. So I can recommend mine, which is a Shimano Corrado. Great reel, I suggest you get that one. But as for the rest, I'm really sorry mate, and I hope a few other people are sort of hearing this answer, because every single week I get quite a few generic sort of questions about tackle for various prices, and I honestly don't know because I don't work in a tackle store. Oh, this time lapse is going to be so awesome. I've nailed the perspective, I think, on this one. Curly 38. Hey Robbie, lately you've been making some fantastic videos. Thank you, Curly. And for a video request, would you be able to do some hunting? Anyways, good job and keep it up. Mate, I've got a few hunting videos that I've made in the past, but in the future, there's probably quite unlikely to be any hunting videos. Stay tuned to this channel because I've got a bit of an announcement to make about the future of my hunting in the next few nights, probably tomorrow night even. So just, yeah, it's not likely that I'll be making too many hunting videos in the future. Sorry, Curly. This is from Jamie O'Neill. Hey Robbie, I've got a couple of questions for you. Recently I bought a Deeper Pro for my kayak and I'm not 100% sure on how the reading is sent back to my phone. For example, if there are fish underneath my kayak or elsewhere. The Deeper Pro Plus, I'm not a tech head. Okay, I don't understand kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz and gigahertz. I don't understand pulses and signals. What I know that is with most fish finders, or most depth sounders, they're in their element looking for structure and looking for depth. If you're in an open body of water and there's big fish like carp underneath or even trout and they're away from the structure or away from the bottom, you'll probably see them on the sounder. But if you're in water where there's Murray cod and they're hiding under the logs, chances are that your sounder is just going to show you an irregular bottom. It's going to show you the snags, the snag piles. Now, I do know that some of the more technical structure scans, the side scanners and stuff like that will pick up fish a lot easier, but they are much, much, much more expensive than your $500 Deeper Pro Plus. Okay, so the Deeper Pro Plus, I find personally, and I just happen to be wearing a Deeper jumper tonight. Thanks, Deeper. Love the jumper. Love your fish finders too. But you've got to remember, it is a $500 fish finder, not a $3,000 fish finder. So basically, it's going to find your drop-offs, your ledges, and everything like that. And it's going to find fish that are out in the open, no worries at all. But it's not actually going to pinpoint all the fish. And yeah, that's just my take on fish finders. I know there are other people that use fish finders a lot more, and they're a lot more technical. They've got a lot more technical knowledge than what I have, and they may be able to answer your question further. But as for how, I'm not sure how the reading is sent back to my phone. The reading is sent back to your phone via Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth, depending which model. You've said here you've got a Deeper Pro, so I'm pretty sure that's a Wi-Fi model. So the signal is sent from the actual fish finder is embedded in the little round ball that you cast out. That is everything. That is your transducer, sorry, that's your computer, and that Wi-Fi's back the readings to your phone. That's how the signal is sent to your phone. But as for how it's detecting the signal underneath, that's with a sonar. But how does sonar work? I'm not 100% sure. Something to do with sending a signal down and then picking it up when it bounces back up. That tells it how far down it is, and technical big words and way above my head. Oh, I know it's a bloody handy device when you're casting from the bank. Kuan Hamden. Would you recommend any rod reel combos for redfin and trout? Thanks. Once again, mate, as I stated in an earlier question, the best thing I can do is tell you to go into your local tackle store and ask them for some advice. I can tell you, definitely, mate, grab a wild bait fishing rod, get a Shimano Stratic CI4 reel, spool it up with Maxima Ultra Green 4 pound, can't go wrong. That's what I use, that's what I love, and that's what I can tell you that you probably love too. But not knowing your budget and not knowing all the other products on the shelf, I'm pretty limited as to what I can actually recommend. So if you don't want to buy the one that I've got, you're better off to go to the tackle store to get the advice, because once again, mate, I don't work in a tackle store. I'm really sorry. Sorry I wasn't much help, Kuan. Is it Kuan? K-U-A-N. Cohen? Kuan? Khan? I really don't know how to pronounce your name. But I like it because it's different than everyone else's. And I love things that are different. Look at me, for example. I'm certainly different. Hey Robbie, keep up the great videos, and I've got a question for you. This is Strike Addict Fishing. Thank you, Strike Addict Fishing. Got a question for your next Q&A. What is the lure rating on your rod and that kilogram of the rod? Thanks. Now, I'm just going to assume that you're talking about my cod rod, okay? Because you haven't really specified whether you're talking about my trout rod or my cod rod. And here it is right here. This is the Venom. It's a 6 kilogram bait caster. Doesn't actually have a lure rating on it. I suppose being a stiff, heavy rod, it just handles most lures. Yeah, the rod rating is 6 kilograms. But as for the lure rating, it doesn't really have a rating on it. I know some rods do. For example, let's use this old Rex Hunt Black Label combo that I bought at Kmart in about 1993. That's got a lure weight of 7 to 10 grams. So that one has a lure weight. Some do and some don't. Basically, it depends what you're fishing for. If you're fishing for trout and you're going to be casting light lures, a light rod will do. If you're fishing for big fish like Murray cod and you want to cast big heavy lures, then you're going to want a heavier, stiffer, graphite-based rod. Once again, this is quite technical, and I'm not a technical person. I've made this known pretty well tonight, but also in previous videos. Even if I walked into a tackle shop tomorrow and I wanted a rod that I thought would load up really well and cast big, heavy lures, I'd just pick a few up off the shelf until I felt one that I liked. If I picked one up and it was too light and whippy, I would think, no, that's not going to cast a heavy lure. So I'd grab something a bit heavier. I just use my iometer, I suppose you could call it. Kiss fishing, keep it simple, stupid. Basically, mate, if you're cod fishing, then try and get a rod that's heavy. Sometimes I just think there's far too much technical jargon in fishing, there really is. Hook sizes are another one. Always get people asking me what size hook. I don't even know what size hook I use. There we go. What size hook? Someone asked me today in an Instagram message, what's the best size hook for redfin? I like one about that size. I don't know whether the camera's going to pick that up or not. See that hook there? It's going to focus straight back on my face. What if I just duck out of the thing? See that hook? That is a great size hook for a redfin. You know what size it is? No, neither do I. I've got no idea what size it is. It's about 1.5 centimetres long and it's got a gap about 1 centimetre wide. Like I said, keep it simple, stupid. And it's funny. It's amazing how many fish I actually catch when I don't even know what size hook I'm using. Chris Brayley on YouTube. For the next one of Q&A, how about maintenance during the cooler months? I'm not talking about the maintenance that I had to pay. That cracked me up. He's not talking about maintenance as in child maintenance. He's talking about real maintenance in the off-season. The off-season, as Chris has just implied now, is a fantastic time of the year to perform maintenance on your reels. Now, I'm not going to make videos on how to perform maintenance because, to be quite frank, I'm not very good at it. I can do it on my egg beater reels, on my spinning reels. I normally remove the scratch plate at the back, pull the handles out, pull the sides off, try and wipe out all of last year's grease and oil and put some fresh reel grease in, put it back together. I never pull them completely apart because I'm worried that if I do that, I'll never get them back together. As for the bait casters, well, I don't even try. I take them to adventure camping and fishing. They send them off to have them serviced. But winter is the best time of year to do that because you're not fishing as often. So if you want your reels to work really well next season, now is the time to send them away and have maintenance done, or track down somebody who is good at reel maintenance who can fix them for you. This is from Don McTaggart. A question for your next segment. I'm coming to Victoria from Tasmania on the 16th of May for 2 weeks. Can I still target cod on surface lures or should I stick to stump jumpers and spinner baits? Thanks in advance. Don, of course you can still target Murray cod. Just beware that middle of May, things are cold. We're starting to get frosts, the water's cold. Whether you're using a spinner bait, a surface lure, a stump jumper, the fishing is probably going to be tough. You might get there on a good day when the fishing's really good and you might hit the jackpot. In which case it's not going to matter which lure you use. I think you are every bit as likely to catch a fish with a surface lure as you are with a diving lure in May, particularly in the low light times of the day. What I will say is in May, for the sort of fishing I do, bank fishing, surface lures are preferred because they don't get snagged as often. I lost 2 spinner baits one afternoon last week because I wasn't going swimming for them, whereas in summer I'll just jump in and get them off. So definitely use your surface lures in May, but just beware that it is a really tough time of the year. Thanks very much for the question, Don. I've got an itchy ear and it's driving me mad. Righto, this is from Lee GQ. Hi mate, got a question for your Q&A. How often should you service your reels? This is going to be really easy to answer because I just answered it sort of a minute ago. Totally up to you. All depends how often you use it, whether you're in freshwater or saltwater. If you're in the saltwater, you should service them much more regularly because the salt will eat away at the reel components a lot quicker than what the freshwater will. If you're in freshwater, you might just want to service them once a year. If you don't go fishing very often, you might want to service them once every 4 or 5 years. Totally up to yourself, mate. Personally, I rarely ever service mine because I keep it simple, stupid, and I probably need to buy new reels because they're probably all worn out. But, I'm different to everybody else. Honestly, mate, seriously, if you're fishing in salt water a lot, you probably should service them a lot more frequently. If you're fishing the freshwater, you won't need to service them as often. With mine, personally, and I'm pretty bad at looking after stuff. I'm terrible at looking after stuff. I'd rarely service my reels. The only time I'd really service them or send them away to get them serviced is when something goes wrong with them. For example, my Shimano Stratic, the bail flipper is starting to wear out. I could probably send that away to have that fixed and give it serviced at the same time. But it's been a long time since I bought a new reel. I might just go out and buy a new reel. I save up and buy myself a present, or I might just try and get another season out of it. So it's something that's variable for so many people. There's no set time as to when you should service your reels and when you shouldn't. And I'm really, really poor at maintenance. I'll admit, I'm shocking. I don't look after a lot of stuff. So, totally up to yourself. It depends how much you cherish your gear. But for me, it's normally just when something goes wrong, I'll send it away to have it fixed. Or just Rightio. Now, the next question comes from Sam Sartori. G'day, Robbie. Just a quickie. What sort of style of trout lures would you be going with this time of the year in the small streams? A natural, subtle lure or something bright with plenty of noise and flash? The stream I'm going to be fishing will be very clear and no wider than 2 metres. Sam, I love bright. I love natural colours, particularly in the summer months, and natural will work well this time of year too, but I love bright orange. The same sort of colour as what that is for trout in small streams in May, and I'll tell you why. Brown trout start spawning around about mid-May, early to mid-May, late May and into June. Depending on where they are, how cold the water is, they've got different triggers. But May is the time of year that they usually start to spawn. When trout spawn, they lay eggs. The eggs are orange. Those eggs will then, when they turn into little minnows, basically the eggs sit under the gravel. Then when the eggs hatch and the little fry are born, they break their way through the loose gravel and they float downstream, and the little fry feed off the yolk sac. At that point in time, while the orange is floating downstream and the trout are feeding off the yolk sac, they are very vulnerable and a large number of them fish get eaten, depending on how many fish are in the system. Now, even though the trout most likely aren't starting to spawn yet, trout have instincts, just like we do. And they know this time of year that there's going to be orange food in the water sometime soon. So that's why I like to use orange for trout starting this time of the year. Bright yellow is a good one as well. Just really bright fluorescent colours. So, and I like small. I'm not actually trying to mimic a trout egg, so to speak, but I'm just mimicking the colour that the trout egg is, because the trout just know to look for orange. Last month, or in March and April, they look for black, because there's a lot of crickets and a lot of black beetles and stuff. So they look for black in April. But in May, I would rather use bright colours, really bright, because that's the main food source for them this time of year is bright. Now, one of the streams that I fish a lot, and I fished the other day, contains only rainbow trout. Rainbow trout don't spawn until sort of July. They spawn 4 to 6 weeks later than brown trout. So as a result, there's not going to be any orange in the system. But it all goes back to their instincts. Instinctually, they're going to be looking for orange in the system this time of year, because even though they're not spawning, their cousins, the brown trout, probably are. And wherever they come from in the world, whatever trout they're near, there might be other species of fish that are spawning this time of year. So during this time of the year, I like to use orange. That's my take on things. Other people might be different. Works for me. Have a look at the video that I uploaded Sunday night, fishing with an El Cheapo service station spinner. Why do you think I chose the one with the orange blade? Because they like orange this time of year, and it worked for me. Oh, look at this photo. I love this. This is my young friend Will Paisley from Benalla. Look at that. He's dressed up as me. You see that? Look at Will. He's got the sleeveless flannelette shirt. He's got the gumboots on, the sunglasses. What a legend. I think I'll call him Mini-Me. Will, you're my hero. I've actually met Will at the service station here in Wangaratta. Adventure camping and fishing, it was in Wangaratta here one day. What a terrific young man. I met him and his family and they were just lovely. That photo of Will dressed up as me just made my entire year. I'm not joking. Thank you, Will. Rightio, Matty boy, what type of GoPro do you have? I use a GoPro Hero 5. For a long time I was using the HD VCS video camera sunglasses, and I still do use them. They're a great product. I use them a lot, particularly when I'm surface fishing for Murray cod in the evening. But being a photographer and being that I'm into creativity, I got to the point where on and off simply isn't enough. With the GoPro Hero 5, I've got a lot more sort of creative control. I can adjust the ISO, which I do on my GoPro. I can shoot at various frame rates, which I do as well. I love the super slow motion. So I like to use the GoPro Hero 5. Now that's not to detract from the HD VCS sunglasses. If you want an action camera that is good for just filming, you've got to push the button and it vibrates twice to say it's on. Then you push the button and it vibrates one big long one to say that it's off. And that's what the video camera sunglasses do, and they are great. But because I just got that creative flair, I suppose you could say, I like to go in, adjust the ISO and adjust all the manual settings. I got to the point where I just needed to be a bit more creative, so I've gone to the GoPro Hero 5, but I do still use the HD VCS glasses as well. It is blowing a gale out here. I just started taking a time lapse. I got about 1.5 seconds into it, which took about 5 minutes, and then the wind blew my camera off the fence post. I had to start again. Now another one. Can you answer this question on your next Q&A? What's the best rig for redfin and trout fishing with baits, and best bait to use in winter for both redfin and trout, or do redfin go off the bite in winter? Redfin do slow right down in the winter. With redfin, you can use worms at any time of the year. Small yabbies, they're great bait. Freshwater shrimp, they can be really hard to find in winter. And my favourite rig is the Paternoster rig. You've probably seen me using it before in various videos. I love the Paternoster rig. With trout, I will fish in a lake even, unweighted. Even if I'm in 20 feet of water, I'll just let that worm slowly make its way to the bottom and I'll fish unweighted. If I do want a sinker, I usually just put a split shot or two back from the hook, maybe 30 or 40 centimetres, and then I'll lower it down. I never use a big sinker when I'm trout fishing because trout are much smarter than redfin. Sometimes I'll use a bubble float with a mud eye underneath it. Mud eyes are the best bait of the lot for trout. So for redfin, try a Paternoster rig, a bunch of worms or a small yabby or a shrimp if you can get hold of them. For trout, try a bubble float or some kind of pencil float, or any kind of float will do with a live mud eye. Or if there's been a lot of rain and the creeks and that are high running into the lakes, then try an unweighted bunch of scrub worms or a really lightly weighted bunch of scrub worms. Rightio folks, now here's another, this is a great question. This came in yesterday from Ethan Bliss. Hey mate, I have a question that a lot of people might want to know. What is a great way to stay connected with other fishermen or fisherwomen to converse catches and or spots to give and to go and have a flick? I know personally I haven't got a lot of fishing buddies, so I always go alone. Wouldn't mind making some new friends to have a flick with. Cheers. That is a great question, Ethan. There's obviously Facebook and Instagram. Are you on Fishbrain? If you're not, download the app Fishbrain. Also, download the app Fisho. Fishbrain is a worldwide fishing, it's like a fishing social media platform designed just for fishing. Fisho is a very similar one, but it's an Australian-based one and it's only quite new. Now, I'm actually one of the pro reporters on the Fisho app, so go on to Fisho and go on to Fishbrain, and they are two dedicated fishing apps that I use. I use both of them, and you can converse very well with people on those apps. And if anybody out there is from the Benalla area looking for a fishing mate, jump onto Facebook and look for Ethan Bliss. Ethan lives in Benalla, he fishes the Benalla and Wangaratta areas, and he's just looking for a fishing buddy. What a great way. You can see him at the top there. Ethan Bliss. Go and look up Ethan if you're looking for a fishing buddy in the Benalla area. Ethan seems like quite a nice young fella. Hey Robbie, this is for your Q&A. This is from T Humphrey 33. This is for your Q&A. What is your biggest rainbow and brown? My biggest rainbow trout I'm not really sure about. I've got one that sticks in my mind. It was around about 3 pounds. It was a very fat fish. I remember holding it. I could barely get my hand halfway around it. But it was probably about 50 centimetres long. But it was just so fat. And that's an estimate. My biggest brown is 68 centimetres. And I caught it on a striped tiger nymph, 10:30 at night on Christmas Day, fishing off a bridge in the Kiewa River. And you can actually see that fish. If you go onto my homepage on YouTube, just click on my channel, you'll see a picture of me holding this huge big brown trout up, and underneath it says uploading videos 5 nights a week. That is my biggest trout, 68 centimetres from the Kiewa River at 10:30 at night. And this is from Janelle Freeman. Enjoying your fishing tips, can you discuss the types of pound line to use in freshwater and saltwater? Thanks. Well, saltwater, Janelle, I'm not even really going to go into an answer there because people will see straight through me and they'll know I'm talking crap. I'm lucky if I go saltwater fishing once a decade, so I really am a specialist freshwater fisherman. So I'll answer the freshwater component of your question. For trout and redfin, I love 4 pound Maxima Ultra Green on my spinning reels. On my overhead bait caster reels that I use for Murray cod fishing, I like 50 pound fins braid. I like the heavy line for a number of reasons. One, it helps me get more lures back out of trees. It helps me get more lures back off the snags. Two, if I do hook a big fish, I've got a fair bit of strength to hold it. And three, when I'm fighting the fish, the 50 pound, the heavy line, enables me to reel the Murray cod in really quickly, get the hook out, get a photo and put him back. There's people that use really light line, when they have a really big fight with a fish and they fight it for ages, that's not good for the fish's health, and it reduces the chance and the likelihood of that fish swimming away healthy. So I can hold that there like that, focus on me, and it's really good in low light, so I can film my fishing introductions in the dark and everything. Hardcore. Now this next question is from Fart Clan. I get a smile on my face every time I get a question from Fart Clan, just at his name, Fart Clan. Why on earth does he call himself Fart Clan? But anyway, this is a ripper question, and I could probably answer it in 2 words, but I won't, I'm going to behave myself. Hey, question for YouTube. I was fishing and catching redfin, having a ball doing it, when this lady told me it's illegal to do so. What should I do if this happens again? I told her that it's not, but she wouldn't believe me. What to do? I'd tell her to rack off. Look, it all depends. If you are fishing in a public waterway where you're allowed to fish, then just tell her to mind her own business. That's what I'd do. I'd say, sorry love, tell your story walking on your bike. But if you're trespassing on private property or you're in a water that's closed to fishing, then you might want to take her advice so you don't get into trouble. But as for fishing for redfin, there's no law against that, provided you're allowed to be there and you've got a fishing licence. Just tell her to mind her own business. That's all I'd do. Thank you very much to all of you who asked me some questions this week. I hope that I was able to answer them properly for you. I apologise if your question did not get read out, but I am trying not to make this video too long. But thank you anyway. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Robbie Fishing Q&A. I got some wonderful feedback during the week about the cool little time lapses and little snippets that I put in between the videos, keeping it entertaining. I actually done that. I started doing that for a reason. When I announced that I was going to be making videos 5 nights a week, I had a few people say to me, oh, don't overdo it, make sure you spend time with your family, and which is really, really, really great. And thank you for keeping an eye out for me, everyone. So I thought maybe what I'll do is I'll just get little bits of snippets of when I'm doing stuff with my family or when I'm out and about, and I'll just throw them in the middle, just to sort of plant a seed in your head that I do actually make time for everything else in my life as well. So I started doing that, and now I'm getting some really good feedback from it. I love time-lapse, I love photography and video work, I love doing time-lapse, I love doing slow motions, I love doing creative. So that's why I started sharing it, and thank you very much to the wonderful people that have gone to the trouble to let me know that they appreciate the little intervals in between the questions. Alright, thank you very much everybody. Don't forget, if you've got a question for next week's Q&A segment, you can leave it in the comments below this video or the comments below any video. I'll do the best I can to screenshot the messages as often as I can so that I can read them out, and if I miss your question, well then I'm really sorry. I'll do my best.